But second question, what about the disabled? How do they rank in being prosecuted for self-defense action? So, the point that we raised, and I'll pass it off to Emily, was if there's any difference between the attacker and the defender, it gets highlighted by the news, by the prosecutor. And so, how do disabled folks play into this?
You would think to yourself, surely someone who has some sort of disability would be given preferential treatment in their reasonable belief that force or deadly force was immediately necessary. And I will tell you, I have seen no such thing. I've seen no such thing.
If only, maybe even the opposite.
Maybe even the opposite. So anytime, and I have had many clients who have disabilities, both very prominent or, if not immediately recognizable, something that they disclose very quickly on the scene. And I have never, ever seen any law enforcement on the scene or prosecutors give it any deference. And that is wild when you think about it, because it absolutely should be given deference. And perhaps in some other part of the country it is, but not in Houston, Texas. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's so bad. And like we said, you would think, all right, benefit of the doubt goes to the disabled person. Maybe they have mobility issues, maybe they are in a weakened state. We've had folks undergoing chemo treatment, all kinds of stuff, and they seem to none of that is taken into account whatsoever. And so it was so bad that we wrote a bill last session to expand our legal presumptions of reasonableness here in Texas for disabled individuals, because if they're responding to a felony, forcible felony, a felony involving a use of force or deadly force, we wanted them to be presumed reasonable, right? Because this specialized knowledge about your physical condition, and can you take a punch? Can you retreat? A lot of this stuff doesn't show up in a crime scene investigation, and we wanted to kind of move the benefit of the doubt a little bit closer towards, hey, we need to take these disabled people into account.
You know who fought against that bill the hardest? You remember? Was the prosecutors.
Yeah, it was the prosecutors.
It was the government. It was the police lobbies. And it was, remember there's that one prosecutor, that lady? Anyway, it was the prosecutor lobbies who were like, we can't show deference to disabled people. I had that, we're going to go way off topic here.
Yeah.
I had that client last year. You remember he was like 80 years old and could barely walk. He was almost in a wheelchair, and like, in the courtroom, they're seeing him walk, and we're getting up to like the day before trial. And I'm like, you're going to put this guy on the stand and you're going to support the victim's story that he like forcibly took her out of a car, and he did end up shooting her. He did shoot her, but the rest of her story was ridiculous. But no, of course not. Of course not. But no, they don't care. They don't care.
Or I had a guy in his mid-80s. He had a negligent discharge, but I mean, he doesn't have fine motor movement like you would want to have. And he got charged with deadly conduct, discharging a firearm. And I just remember the prosecutor was like, hey, look, this is clearly an accident. Nobody was hurt. Didn't leave the confines of his house. This is not a crime, clearly. And they did not negotiate with fugitives because they had a warrant out for his arrest, and they wouldn't talk to me about the case yet.
So reasonable.
So reasonable. We got to resolve.
But I need to wear my contempt for the state is infinite shirt for this one. I need to go change clothes.
I wasn't expecting that turn, but I thought that was an interesting question.
It is a very